2025 Law Day ceremony. May I present the New York State Attorney General, the President of the New York State Bar Association, the Associate Judges of the New York State Court of Appeals, the Chief Administrative Judge of the Unified Court System, and the Chief Judge of the State of New York.
Good morning, everyone. Please remain seated for a moment for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's my pleasure to welcome Craig and Lily O'Rourke to lead us in the pledge. Craig is in the second grade at Forts Ferry Elementary School, and Lily attends St. Pius Preschool. They're the children of Megan and Joseph O'Rourke. Joseph, Joey, as we know him, is a principal court attorney here with central staff at the Court of Appeals. Ready? Anytime you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Lily. And now, Court Officer Haziel Munoz of the Bronx Civil Supreme Court will sing the national anthem. And needs to raise the microphone quite a bit.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Officer Munoz. Please be seated, everyone. Again, on behalf of the Unified Court System and our co-host, the Office of the New York State Attorney General, I welcome you to 2025 Law Day celebration. Seated on the bench are my colleagues on the New York State Court of Appeals, Senior Associate Justice Jenny Rivera, and Associate Justices Michael Garcia, Madeline Singas, Anthony Canataro, Shirley Troutman, and Caitlin Halligan. Alongside me are the New York State Attorney General, whom you all know, the Honorable Letitia James, Chief Administrative Judge of the Unified Court System, the Honorable Joseph Zayas, and President of the New York State Bar Association, Dominic Napolitano. I'm delighted to see many of my colleagues in the judiciary here, and I know all of us join me in welcoming a couple of special visitors who are not from the Unified Court System, our Solicitor General, the Honorable Barbara Underwood, and Jessica Cherry, Assistant Counsel to Governor Hochul. President Eisenhower President Eisenhower established Law Day in 1958. That same year, a new musical, West Side Story, captivated Broadway. You all know the story and most of the songs. Chief Administrative Judge Zayas tells me that he spent his youth with his four brothers singing some of the songs on the street, though he insists that their repertoire did not include I Feel Pretty. I'm not so sure about that. But there's a stanza from the original Broadway production that was replaced in the subsequent movie versions, so you may not be familiar with it. It's in the song America, and the abandoned stanza is, immigrant goes to America, many hellos in America. Nobody knows in America, Puerto Rico's in America. And to make sure that everyone knows not just that Puerto Rico's in America, pero también Nueva York está en Puerto Rico, I'd like to extend a special welcome to Dean Julio Fontanet Maldonado and Professors Carlos Ivan Gorin Peralta and Manuel del Valle, all from the Inter-American Law School in Puerto Rico, who are hosting Presiding Justice Zais and a delegation of our Court of Claims judges, all of whom are joining us over the live stream. So welcome to you all. This year, the ABA's national theme for Law Day is the Constitution's promise, out of many, one. Out of many, one is the English translation of the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, which has been our unofficial national motto since the founding. You can find that phrase on any penny, nickel, dime, or quarter, on the $1 and $5 bills, and the Great Seal of the United States, which adorns countless federal government buildings and documents. To share what e pluribus unum means to us at the Unified Court System, I'd like to first tell you the story of how it became part of the Great Seal and entered our national ethos. Before it adjourned on July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress of the very newly independent United States of America passed a resolution which reads, resolved that Dr. Franklin, Mr. J. Adams, and Mr. Jefferson be a committee to bring in a device for a seal for the United States of America. Our new nation needed an emblem to signify our sovereignty, ideals, and aspirations. The three men struggled with the task. John Adams wanted to depict the mythical figure Hercules, contemplating images of virtue and sloth, but admitted in a letter to Abigail that his idea was too complicated a group for a seal or medal and not original. Franklin favored a scene from the Bible, Moses parting the Red Sea waters as they consumed Pharaoh. Jefferson also proposed a scene from the book of Exodus. On the front side, the children of Israel wandering in the desert, and on the obverse side, Hengist and Horsa, brothers and legendary leaders of the first Anglo-Saxon settlers in Britain, whose political principles, Jefferson wrote, and form of government we have assumed. These three wise men clearly needed help. So they recruited one more person to join the committee, an artist, 39-year-old Pierre-Eugène du Cimetière, who had been born in Switzerland and then became a naturalized citizen of New York in 1769. In consultation with Franklin, Adams, and Jefferson, du Cimetière sketched the committee's proposed seal. At the center of the seal was a shield. The middle of the shield was divided into 6 parts, each with a symbol representing the countries from which the American settlers had hailed: England, Scotland, Ireland, France, Germany, and the Netherlands. The border of the shield was made up of 13 segments, each with a letter or letters to represent the 13 original states. The goddess Liberty leaned against the right side of the shield, and an American soldier held the left side of the shield, and the eye of Providence radiated from above. Beneath everything, a motto was inscribed in an unfurled banner: E pluribus unum. The image I just described is probably unfamiliar to you because Congress rejected it. It took 6 more years, 2 more committees, and the combined efforts of 14 men before Congress adopted the Great Seal of the United States that we know today, which depicts a bald eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows and talons, and a banner bearing the words E pluribus unum in its beak. The original proposed seal, although not adopted, has great significance in understanding the meaning of E pluribus unum in the United States, because it is the first time the phrase was used as a motto for American democracy. About E pluribus unum, one historian wrote, "Choice of the motto was the work of an artist. Its perfect suitability to the design that Dussumier proposed can hardly be overemphasized. The design depicts the diversity of the origins of the American people, superimposes upon that diversity the diversity of the 13 independent states, and then shows them all joined to one another and further unified within the bounds or outline of the principal shield. The motto seems even more precisely appropriate to this design than to the Great Seal design as finally adopted. Surely it was the artist Dussumier who chose the phrase, or quite possibly he began with that phrase as his central idea, and from it developed his design." In other words, Franklin, Adams, Jefferson, and the artist Dussumier proposed making a visual depiction of the diversity of immigrants the symbol of our new nation. And the motto they chose, E pluribus unum, recognized that pluralism, pluribus, and unity, unum, were harmonious, not conflicting concepts. But since the founding, we have had a hard time harmonizing pluralism and unity. In 1777, New York State's Constitution banned Catholics from office and would do so until 1806, on the theory that fealty to the Pope prevented them from being loyal to the United States. When the wave of Irish immigrants fleeing the famine came in the 1800s, the popular sentiment was captured in cartoons depicting the Irish as ape-like, drunken, indolent, and violent. A 19th century American philosopher wrote that the lowest Irish are far above the level of these creatures, Italians. The Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 and Korematsu, handed down in 1944, and hundreds of years of slavery, followed by decades of state-enforced racial segregation, remain deeply harmful, anguished moments in our national history. At the 1984 Democratic National Convention, the Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson urged the country to leave the racial battleground behind. He said, "Our flag is red, white, and blue, but our nation is a rainbow. America is not like a blanket, one piece of unbroken cloth, the same color, the same texture, the same size. America is more like a quilt, many patches, many pieces, many colors, many sizes, all woven and held together by a common thread. Even in our fractured state, all of us count and all of us fit somewhere. We have proven that we can survive without each other, but we have not proven that we can win and progress without each other. We must come together." The flag on the front of the program we handed out this morning is a representation of that rainbow. Titled "Out of Many, One Flag," it contains overlapping hands of all colors and designs adorning the traditional American flag. The effect is complex, vibrant, and celebratory. Like Dussumier, who sketched the original seal, the artist of this flag immigrated to the United States from Europe and became a naturalized American citizen. Unlike Dussumier, she is with us today. Please join me in thanking Ms. Muriel Stockdale for making art that celebrates the richness of the American tapestry and for allowing us to reprint one of her pieces for today's Law Day celebration. Ms. Stockdale's flags, Jesse Jackson's vision of a rainbow coalition, the design of the original seal, and the motto, E pluribus unum, all have something in common. They assert that America's beauty and strength are at their height when we include and elevate people of all races, creeds, and abilities. Here at the Unified Court System, we are working toward a society that includes, protects, and uplifts all people equally. We are working as one to reorient ourselves towards the many, especially those who have long been at the periphery, the many with underlying substance use disorders or mental illness who would benefit from a problem-solving mode of justice, the many in New York's rural communities where there are severe shortages of lawyers, the many incarcerated who seek the opportunity to demonstrate that they have earned a second chance, the many, many other desperate and disenfranchised who come before our courts seeking justice. We need all of you to work with us. In the words of Dr. King, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. I'd like now to announce the winners of the Law Day Art Contest. As in previous years, our Office of Justice Initiatives, in partnership with the Historical Society of the New York Courts, has invited high school students from across New York State to participate in an art contest inspired by the American Bar Association's National Law Day theme. This year we received 100 submissions, many of which are rotating on a display monitor in the entry room to the courtroom. All participants received a certificate of participation and a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution. Today, I'm delighted to announce the statewide first, second, and third place winners as determined by a panel of art judges, not law judges. I would have tied them all for first place. But according to the art judges, they are in third place, Unity by Zoe Allen of Rensselaer County in the 3rd Judicial District. In second place, United We Stand by Wendy Coleman of Schuyler County in the 6th Judicial District. And in first place, and it's sort of eerily coincidental, it coincides eerily with my remarks, in first place is E Pluribus Unum, A Tapestry of Democracy by Elise Kwan of Rockland County in the 9th Judicial District. And about her piece, Elise wrote, "My artwork is inspired by the idea that America is a nation woven together by people, laws, and shared responsibilities. I got the idea to create a quilt showing how America is in America, every person's role in democracy matters, and that despite our individual differences, we remain as one nation." Couldn't have said it better myself. Congratulations to Elise, Wendy, and Zoe, and to all the students who submitted their artworks. I also thank the Office of Justice Initiatives and the Historical Society of New York Courts for encouraging our youth to think about and contribute to our democracy in creative ways. Artists like Du Cimetière, like Ms. Stockdale, like the students who devoted their time and talent to participate in our art contest are essential to a healthy democracy. Artists lay bare the essential truths that lie at the heart of society. And as in the original seal and Ms. Stockdale's flags, artists can also appeal to our better angels and point the way forward. Thank you all very much. It is now my great pleasure to introduce and turn the program over to our wonderful Attorney General, the Honorable Letitia James.
Chief Justice, I do feel pretty this morning. I would sing, but next time, okay? To Chief Justice and all of the justices of the Court of Appeals, to President Napolitano, to members of the bench, of the bar, and to all who are in attendance, the Solicitor General, Barbara Underwood, Counsel for the Governor, and I believe I saw representatives from the Controller, Tom DiNapoli's office. Good morning. It is, I won't be before you long. In fact, my comments are a few. I just wanted, obviously, to be with all of you today as we gather to celebrate Law Day. As lawyers, this day allows us to promote understanding and appreciation for the rule of law. Today serves as an opportunity to celebrate the freedoms and justice that the legal system provides and to reaffirm our nation's commitment to these principles. And those elegant words which have always moved me in the past resonate particularly for me today, because we find ourselves at a moment when those of us who believe in the rule of law and loyalty to the United States Constitution, as we pledged allegiance to the flag, all of us as a nation and as a state, we're facing a dilemma. And we all must confront a troubling disregard, not just for the very pillars of our democracy, but we are witnessing an entire democratic system of governance which unfortunately is being challenged. Our constitutional order, a re-engineering of our government. And as lawyers and as citizens of this nation, what we are witnessing are extreme and deliberate violations of our Constitution. let me be honest, it was chaos, confusion, and disorder, and a lot of fear have gripped our citizens. And let me just give you just a few examples. The withholding of federal funds has caused devastating harm to our state and its residents. Orders to immediately and indefinitely pause obligated funding for the purposes of achieving certain objectives has caused extreme harm. Funds necessary to ensure the benefits of safe roads and access to childcare and the protections of law enforcement and essential workers have become unraveled. And these actions have been done wholly without the permission of Congress, a co-equal branch of government. You see, the Constitution gives the power of the purse to Congress, and the Constitution vests in Congress exclusive power to legislate and spending authority. And to weaken that authority and that power is really an affront to the separation of powers. We've seen executive orders imposing sanctions on law firms for disfavored work, which violates the First Amendment. The right to legal counsel is a foundational principle of our republic, and any attempt to violate that principle tears at the very fabric of our justice system. The federal government's threats to cut funding to states and cities that resist its immigration enforcement policies is legally questionable, unconstitutional, and in violation of the anti-commandeering doctrine. The federal government cannot compel states to enforce federal immigration actions. And any effort to control elections also represents a dangerous power grab that disregards our state sovereignty. And as we witness these brazen assaults on state rights and their role in the Constitution, we are seeing a sweep of attacks on our immigration system at the federal level. For over a century, anyone born on U.S. soil has been conferred citizenship at birth, regardless of their parents' immigration status. And any order to end birthright citizenship directly violates the 14th Amendment. And this right was established as a response to the injustice faced by children born into slavery in the United States, and became the basis for the landmark Supreme Court ruling in the United States versus Won Kim. The Constitution is clear, and not even the president has the authority to unilaterally change the citizenship rule. It's a principle we must recognize and defend on behalf of all individuals. In fact, my colleague in Connecticut, Attorney General Tong, reminds me of this often because he was a birthright citizenship child. My friends, if the oaths we took as court officers when we passed the bar are to mean anything, then we must stand firm and without fear to the trampling of everything that we hold dear. This is not a partisan issue, nor it is a matter of right or wrong, or left or right, or Republican or Democrat. It is fundamentally a question of whether or not we are abiding by the Constitution. The fabric of our democracy, my friends, is being challenged, and we cannot rationalize this behavior or shy away from our responsibility to uphold the rule of law. We cannot normalize this concentration of power. As attorneys and citizens who love our country deeply, we must withstand the tremors of our time, the challenges of our time, and defend the rule of law, the independence of the legal profession, and hold true to our nation's future, and hold true to its promises for all of us and those who seek to come to our shores. We must pledge fealty to freedom and to liberty and to due process and to equal justice under the law, just as we pledged allegiance to this flag. I thank you for this opportunity, and may you all enjoy Law Day.
Thank you, Attorney General James. We now have the pleasure of hearing from the President of the New York State Bar Association, Dominic Napolitano.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Chief Justice Wilson, for inviting me to speak today. I am honored to share Law Day with you and all the distinguished guests gathered here today, including the judges of the Court of Appeals, presiding justices of the Appellate Division, Chief Administrative Judge Joseph Zayas, Attorney General Tish James, honorable judges, distinguished attorneys, public officials, and guests alike. On behalf of the New York State Bar Association, I congratulate all of today's honorees of the Judith S. K. Service Awards. All of you, in your own understated manner, represent democracy's greatness and judicial system that protects it. Thank you for your service and selfless dedication to the people of the state of New York. I am so happy to be here on behalf of our association's 55,000 members to celebrate Law Day with you. I am also looking forward to this afternoon when we will celebrate our Pro Bono Honor Awards from all over the state here at the Bar Center. We are steeped in history. The Court of Appeals building where we are gathered today has a noble past. The level of respect we in the legal profession have for the court and this building is unmatched. It symbolizes that we are part of a tradition of members of a distinguished and honorable profession. Law Day offers us a chance to step aside from our busy schedule and reflect on our purpose as attorneys. It is also an opportunity to reflect on the responsibility and the power of a committed citizenry. Our obligations, amongst other things, include speaking out, not only because it is our right to do so, but because it is our duty and to be proud Americans and New Yorkers to do so. More importantly, we need to act so that our democracy may operate at its fullest capacity. As lawyers, we have a role to play in ensuring and promoting the rule of law, as well as imparting knowledge to all citizens on how they may best apply in their own voices and their participation in the democratic processes. This is especially true for our youth, because they are the most vulnerable citizens and they are our future leaders. The New York State Bar Association is committed to doing just that. Part of our mission is to educate and inform the public. That is why we are hosting our second Civics Convocation this October. We are grateful to Chief Judge Wilson for his support of the convocation. The focus this year will be on media literacy. Young people growing up surrounded by digital media, from traditional outlets to social media, gaming platforms that bombard them with misinformation and purposely limit their access to a balanced news reporting. Students must learn how to identify these biases. They need to know how the very facts and how to evaluate sources. Outfitting students with tools to critically understand how modern media landscape works is more critical than ever before, where misinformation is misguided as facts and continues to permeate social media feeds and thus further influences their thought processes. The New York State Bar Association has a role to play in protecting our judges, because any threat to our judiciary imperils its independence and impacts our democracy as a whole. In addition, such threats are an affront to the separation of powers. They erode the checks and balances that the framers of our Constitution so clearly crafted. This is not a partisan issue, by no means. For democracy to work, judges need to be free to decide cases and issues without fear, for both their safety and for their families' safety as well. Without such efforts, the ideas of spirited debate and willingness to compromise that characterized the Constitutional Convention nearly 240 years ago will be lost forever. It was at that meeting that our Lord Day theme, E Pluribus Unum, out of many comes one, first took root. 2025 Lord Day theme urges us to take pride in the Constitution, most notably to provide a bridge between differences of thought that brings us together as a nation. It entrusts us with the shared responsibility of working together for the common good of all people, regardless of anyone's race, creed, or ethnicity. It is our differences that unite us, and that is what makes us proud Americans. We live in a country which has more immigrants than any other nation in this entire world. Our great state of New York is home to its third highest foreign-born population, which renders it a hub for a multitude of cultural influences. I am extremely proud to be part of that mosaic. As a first-generation Italian-American who was raised in a diverse working-class section of Brooklyn, my immigrant parents, my friends, my neighbors all came from different backgrounds, practiced varying religious beliefs, and observed distinct cultural holidays. These shared differences linked us all together. As proud New Yorkers and Americans, we are connected by our desire to live freely under the tenets of the Constitution, including popular sovereignty, the people granting the government's right to rule, and fundamental individual rights, including freedom of speech and freedom of religion. These tenets have endured for over 2 centuries as the foundation of our democratic way of life. I am reminded by the powerful and eloquent words of Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Let us keep these words in mind as we go forward today. And in closing, I would like to thank this court for hosting Lord Day event. And again, I will congratulate all of today's honorees and thank you for giving me your time.
And speaking of honorees, Chief Administrative Judge Zayas now has the presentation of the Judith S. K. Service Awards.
Well, I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and gay. Sorry. If my friend says I can't do anything, I try to do it.
Of course, you see, he repeated pretty twice instead of saying witty. The second one is witty.
Oh, it's witty? Oh, okay.
Pretty and witty.
All right. I did that for my brothers and sisters in Puerto Rico. Good morning, everyone. So nice to see you all. Each year on Lord Day, we have the great honor to honor our court system employees from around the state who exemplify the characteristics that we most value in public servants. These individuals are not only effective in the workplace, but they are pillars of their communities. The awards they receive bear the name of one of our most influential, consequential, and admired Chief Judges, Judith K. And it is my great privilege and personal honor to present these 8 awards today. So the first category of awards is exemplary work performance, which really speaks for itself. We recognize individuals who go above and beyond each day, who are innovative and creative, and who make our courts more efficient, effective, and compassionate places. Valerie James began her career with the courts in 1993 in the Syracuse City Court. A year later, she was promoted to junior court analyst in the 5th Judicial District Office. After many years there, in 2018, Ms. James became Deputy Chief Clerk of Syracuse City Court, returning to the court where she began her career. Not surprisingly, given all of her talents and accomplishments, in the summer of 2021, when the chief clerk position became available, Ms. James was promoted to that role. By all accounts, Chief Clerk James made a huge positive impact on her court and her district. When the pandemic hit in March of 2020, she became a key part of then Administrative Judge James Murphy's team. She helped consolidate all of the courthouses into one facility in each of the 6 counties, set up virtual operations, and implement protocols and procedures for safely handling emergency matters in person. Chief Clerk James worked tirelessly to ensure that these essential operations were maintained throughout the pandemic. Among her many contributions, Chief Clerk James was intricately involved in the establishment of the Onondaga County Centralized Arraignment Part, in the origination, along with other law enforcement agencies, of a series of safe surrender events and the expansion of ADR opportunities in the Syracuse City Court. As Chief Administrative Judge, it is truly gratifying to read all of the letters submitted in support of Chief Clerk James's nomination to receive this award. She was described in glowing terms not only by her supervisors in the court system, but also by stakeholders. According to Administrative Judge Karolounis, who I know is here today, when Chief Clerk James sees something not working well as she thinks it should, or something strikes her as unfair or inequitable, she doesn't let it slide. She takes the initiative to try to find a meaningful solution. It is quite clear to me that she is the consummate public servant and a tremendous asset to the court system. So Chief Clerk James, please come up to receive your award. Anthony Perry, as many of you know, joined OCA Counsel's office in February 2020, and just weeks later became a key part of the court system's response to the pandemic. It was during this time that I met Anthony, and his legal acumen and management and leadership skills were immediately apparent to all. Anthony currently serves as First Deputy Counsel for the Office of Court Administration and as Deputy Counsel for Criminal Justice. In these capacities, he helps manage and oversee counsel's office and also provides advice and guidance regarding criminal justice issues to the Unified Court System leadership, as well as to judges and non-judicial personnel throughout the state. Anthony is involved in far too many things to mention, all of them here. But he serves as counsel to our Advisory Committee on Criminal Law and Procedure. And in the past few years, he has taken the lead on the Unified Court System's implementation of a number of significant criminal justice reform measures, including the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, Less is More, and the automatic sealing of criminal convictions that will result from the Clean Slate Act. As the Chief Administrative Judge, I have had the pleasure of working with Anthony on almost a daily basis. He is truly an exemplary employee. He provides sound, reasoned advice to the UCS leadership team, and he is available sometimes very, very early in the morning and on the weekend. I don't know where he is, but he knows I have texted him at 5 o'clock in the morning once. But he provides this advice, and he's available to us whenever we need him. One thing that we have worked very hard on over the past couple of years is building strong relationships with our partners in the governor's office and in the legislature. And Anthony has been a key part of those efforts as well. He has developed excellent relationships with the governor's office, governor's counsel's office, as well as with staff members with the Senate and the Assembly. They know, as we do, that Anthony is smart, trustworthy, and pragmatic, and they value the input he provides on behalf of the court system. So Anthony, please come up and accept your award. Jane Stillwell serves as Deputy Chief Clerk at the Richmond County Surrogates Court, where she has worked since 2007. Deputy Chief Clerk Stillwell is a well-respected and beloved member of her court community, always exhibiting an extraordinary degree of professionalism, intelligence, and courtesy. She is quick to help out any of her colleagues, regardless of whether they need her help or support in her professional and personal lives. Deputy Chief Clerk Stillwell was instrumental in assisting those who suffered losses during Hurricane Sandy and responding to families from our court family who lost loved ones during the COVID-19 pandemic. She scheduled appointments before and after normal court hours and worked well into many evenings to accommodate the community, sometimes personally delivering court papers and orders. Her dedication, compassion, and concern for these individuals and for Richmond County was truly exemplary. She also helped develop new protocols, working with the chief clerk and the head of the law department to manage the court's operations virtually when the public could not enter our facilities. It is clear that Deputy Chief Clerk Stillwell's interactions with the general public and members of the bar reflect the utmost professionalism and care. I was pleased to read a number of notes and letters from court users that emphasized her kindness, competence, and efficiency, as well as her engagement with our community. It is my pleasure to recognize her today. Deputy Chief Clerk Stillwell, please come up to accept your award. So the next category in this year's Judith K. Service Awards is Community Service and Humanitarian Pursuits. These awards recognize the achievements of court system employees who have reached out and devoted their efforts and abilities to endeavors that benefit the community as a whole. Our first award recipient in the community service category is Kurt Allen, a court officer sergeant in the Poughkeepsie City Court, 9th Judicial District. Sergeant Allen joined the Unified Court System in 2004 as a court officer and was promoted to the rank of sergeant in 2010. Sergeant Allen regularly and eagerly participates in a variety of community service projects, including food drives, adopt-a-family events, and fundraising efforts for other officers, court staff, and community members in need. As a veteran of the U.S. Army who served in the military for 10 years, he is involved with the American Legion in Pleasant Valley and often volunteers at community events and outreach programs. Sergeant Allen has worked with the Flowers Foundation of Poughkeepsie, donating his time and efforts to help the organization package, serve, and deliver thousands of meals to needy Hudson Valley residents during the holiday season. Sergeant Allen has led and served as a volunteer at many community events, promoting firearm safety as well as active shooter informational programs for small business owners and banks in conjunction with the Hyde Park Chamber of Commerce. He has participated in programs like, quote, Woman on Target, which provides women with information about firearms for personal safety or sport. With this award, we recognize and honor Sergeant Allen's steadfast and selfless commitment to community service and engagement. I ask Sergeant Kurt Allen to please step up. Our next award for community service goes to Leah Richardson. I think many of you know her because she's so active, a network systems engineer in the Supreme Court, Kings County. Ms. Richardson joined the Unified Court System in 1996 and has served in the Kings County Supreme Court for 29 years. I want to call her Network Systems Engineer Richardson, but that sounds a little too wordy. But she is a member of many boards and communities and committees in the consummate community activist. Excuse me. She has served as a member of the Kings County Court's Equal Justice Committee, which promotes the fair and equitable treatment of all court users, including litigants, court staff, and the public. Ms. Richardson is currently the chairperson of the Tribune Society's Professional Development Committee, which provides judiciary employees with training, feedback, guidance, and seminars that improve productivity and job proficiency in the judiciary and assist employees in advancing their careers. Ms. Richardson is also the co-chairperson of the Kings County the Honorable Betty Weinberg Ellerin Committee on Women in the Courts, which addresses issues affecting women litigants, attorneys, and court employees. As I said, she's involved in everything. She recently helped to organize an event involving the public in conversations on domestic violence and a Women's History Month event focusing on careers in the courts. Ms. Richardson also serves as the co-chairperson of the Kings County Court's Black History Month Committee. In this role, she leads the planning of various events throughout February, which foster cultural awareness and community engagement. In recognition of Ms. Richardson's dedication to benefiting the community by furthering justice and equity, we bestow upon her this well-deserved reward. And I ask Ms. Richardson to please step up. Our final set of awards recognize acts of heroism. These awards honor employees within our court system who risk their personal safety to protect others and serve the greater good. Our first recipients of this award are Sergeant Ryan Caldwell and Court Officer James Goodman. Sergeant Caldwell began his career as a court officer in December of 2000. He left the court system in 2005, but thankfully he returned in September of 2018 and was assigned to New York City Criminal Court. Just recently, on March 13th, 2025, Sergeant Caldwell was promoted to sergeant and assigned to Supreme Court criminal term in New York County. Court Officer James Goodman began his service in February 2019 and also was assigned to the New York City Criminal Court. On June 20th, 2024, Sergeant Caldwell and Officer Goodman were assigned to New York City Criminal Court in Kings County. While on a perimeter patrol, they noticed a man and a woman walk past them. As she walked by, the woman mouthed the words, "Help me." Sergeant Caldwell and Officer Goodman observed the man and woman enter a Planet Fitness gym. They entered the gym, and asked the receptionist about their demeanor. After doing so, Sergeant Caldwell and Officer Goodman determined that police assistance was required. The police department responded and determined that the woman had been kidnapped and the man was arrested. Sergeant Caldwell and Officer Goodman remained alert and observant. They acted diligently and responsibly, and they saved the person from further harm. For these acts of heroism, we recognize and honor both of them with this award. Sergeant Caldwell and Officer Goodman, please come up to receive your award. Okay, our next recipient of the Acts of Heroism Award is Sergeant Kenneth Rodriguez, a 10-year veteran of the court system. Sergeant Rodriguez started working as a court officer in Supreme Court, Bronx County criminal term in 2015. In August of 2024, he was promoted to sergeant, and he was assigned to the Special Response Team, the, quote, SRT unit. Sergeant Rodriguez's flourishing career was already marked by distinction, but on September 18, 2024, he demonstrated truly exemplary bravery. On that day, while driving to work, Sergeant Rodriguez observed an individual discharge a firearm at another person. Sergeant Rodriguez immediately pulled over and exited his vehicle to pursue the suspect. As he was beginning his pursuit, another vehicle stopped directly behind Sergeant Rodriguez's car. Sergeant Rodriguez directed the driver, who happened to be a detective in the Bronx County DA's squad, to call 911. Sergeant Rodriguez and the detective then pursued the suspect together. They were able to apprehend the suspect and recover the firearm. Sergeant Rodriguez risked his own life to keep the streets of New York City safe for others. For this act of heroism, we recognize and honor him with this award. Sergeant Rodriguez, please come up to receive your award.
And that concludes today's program. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next year.